Welcome to Black Men Sundays. This is your host, Corey Sylvester Murray. We're talking about generational wealth. We're talking about finance, and we're talking about business.
It's a black man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
In today's show, we're talking to the owners of the Honey Hills Retreat, a fully mirrored treehouse. But let's talk about how we got to that. So imagine when you have an owner of your own interior design company married to a builder. What do you get? You get the Honey Hills Treehouse. So without further ado, Kirk and Janae Harvey, welcome to Black Men Sundays, brother and sister. How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
We're blessed. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Like I was, saying in the intro, I mean, Janae, you're the owner of your own interior design company. We got the brother Kurt Harvey on here, a builder. So how did we get to Honey Hills? Like, where did the idea come from?
The idea came from a dream that I had. Um, I'm an investor. Been in the game for a while. Started off with fixing and flipping homes and stuff, and then eventually grew into new construction builds and subdivisions. And we've been in the new construction business for about 6, 7 years. So with the expertise of the construction and the dream, we just put it together. I had a dream of building a tree house. The first thought wasn't really a glass mirror tree house. The first thought was more traditional, like, building a kind of woodsy house and some trees, you know what I mean? And, we got married and, we wanted to just surround this around the, couples primarily, a way to connect, a way to keep connected, get rid of the noise, work life, kids life, and just have a place to just be together and just come together in peace and quiet and just reconnect. So it always starts like this. It always starts with a vision, and the end product 99.9% of the time is never what it started as. A lot of that is hers because as a designer, she can take my site and my vision and take it and just, create something else and design something else, which has been doing good for us. So we started off with just a woodsy feel, more traditional when we had our son, more treehouse kind of vibe. And, as we played with different ideas, I think the idea of building or creating something that was invisible, that's how the mirrored glass came in effect in the middle of the woods, but still keeping, the luxury modern aspect. So it doesn't feel like, when you go to a traditional cabin, log cabin feel, with the bare pictures on the wall, we've been doing since, I was younger and generations before. So we just wanted to incorporate all that into one property, which has been Honey Hills Retreat.
So Janae, let's talk about it from your point of view.
My point of view would be, like he said, it always ends up something completely different. I feel like my job as the interior designer wife is to amplify whatever dream he had and just kind of bring it to a better reality and just bring those wow factors into it. So with the tree house, he knew he wanted to build a tree house. Um, and when we first started off, we wanted to, like he said, put it in the trees. Georgia's a tree hugger state. So you cannot build in the tree. And so it was okay, like, what's plan B? What do we do? And we were like, you know what? We don't like to give up our modern amenities, but we also like peace. And so we created a luxurious environment so where you can just, you have a sauna, hot tub, you have the oasis of the bathroom, just the entire home. And it's also designed at that higher level where you can appreciate, you walk in and you just appreciate details of it. So just appreciating a luxurious space, but also while you're able to take in nature.
The thing that interests me the most about it, I'm like, wow, we're really talking about like a tree house. Like it's really in a tree. It's fully mirrored. I kind of get some ideas, but we're not going there right now. But I'm just saying, like when we're talking about how did you guys pick the location? Because I understand, doing my research, you guys had some roadblocks, but we're gonna get to that in a sec. Cause it's Black Men Sundays. But I'm just saying, like, when, how did you realize that this dream is really about to be a reality? Let's talk about, if you're willing to, the type of money invested. How did you make this, really come to fruition? Because on our show, we have a lot of businesses, a lot of business owners. We have a lot of, up and coming entrepreneurs that are learning tips that are definitely going to be inspired by you guys. I mean, I'm inspired by you guys. I could not wait for you guys to come on the show. But, everyone, I feel like, in our community as Black people, we always have phenomenal ideas, but it's hard to execute from a financial perspective, just from, not having the knowledge of understanding how to build it. So, we can go back, like, at what point did you realize this was about to happen? What type of money are we talking about? We invested. Like, let's talk about the impetus of Honey Hills Retreat.
I have a Jamaican background, which I think makes me want to hoard and save and be, I guess, not cheap, but when I make my money, I don't like to blow it. I like to watch every dime, quarter, no matter how much, wealth I've built. I still watch every quarter, every dime, and I think that just comes from my background of being Jamaican. If I spend it, it has to make sense. So, my previous businesses, first from having a personal care home that grew into the fix and flip business, which grew into the new construction business, which grew into wanting to invest into short-term rentals, or, because I have some, single family home rentals also, but, I just save my money. I don't blow it, I stay in budgets and I just reinvest the money as I make it instead of just trying to live a lifestyle. So, just years of building houses and selling them. What do I do with the money that I made after a purchase? Well, I just put it to a pot. I want to invest in short-term rentals. So, once I saved up enough money to buy some land, I was still in Los Angeles. She was down here with my mom. My mom's a broker. She's also a real estate agent. So she's a great researcher. So she just, you know, had the dream, wanted to find a piece of land that matched the dream, and she went to digging and she found what now is Honey Hills Retreat. Located about an hour outside of Atlanta in a more rural area because like the theme was trees, the theme was peace. So we wanted to have like a getaway away from the city, everyday work life. Oh yeah, I would just say, with the land cost and the investment, probably came out about 400,000 in all. I purchased about 15 acres, which the plan is we subdivided it into 3 tracks so far. In this particular county, you're able to subdivide a minimum 2 acres. So right now we have three tracks right now, which we plan on building, you know, another one and another one. But we're gonna let the business run, save the money, take that money, reinvest it into another lot. Right now we're in the process of building Treehouse number 2. And then, we'll just stick to the same program. We're gonna let those 2 run, accumulate the money, and let that one pay for the third one, and then, from there just let it grow into who knows what's next. Maybe, Honey Hills Treehouse outside the country. I don't know. No, maybe. Another hill somewhere in another part of the world. Who knows? That's usually just my technique of how I play around with finances and money. I think it's important to say that, when I got into the building game, I had used the money I saved to purchase land like lots to build houses and sell them on, but I did utilize acquiring construction loans. So what I'll do is, save my money, buy a lot or 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever you can, and then, go to the bank and get a use construction loan to to build a house. And then, in the end, when you sell it, the bank get their money back, you get your profit. You could do tax things like, if you reinvest your money in a certain period of time, you don't have to pay any taxes. So you utilize these kind of programs to keep the money that you make until you reinvest it, particularly in real estate. So that's pretty much the program that I've been running. We've been running how we just reinvest the money that we make from our other businesses into more business.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you back that up one more time. I feel like that went over a lot of people's heads, what you just said, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because when we're looking at ways of building wealth, I think the big, this is like our 100 and almost 160th show. So we've had financial advisors account. We've had all the flavors of wealth builders, but I think you guys are so new or so unique. But Kirk, you're talking about this tip. I think that went over a lot of brothers' heads. So for brothers that are, in business, that are looking to expand businesses, what tax tips or what financial tips can you give these brothers right away, right now, that they can use today?
It's a system that I used to basically after a sale of a purchase, you have up to 90 days to reinvest it in real estate or another property or land or house. And if you do that within the 90-day period, you don't have to pay any taxes on your capital gains.
What we did, and I feel like another thing as people of color, as Black people, we don't be scared to go to the bank. We hear all of the horror stories about, oh, they're going to turn us down, this, that, and the third, but you have to keep trying because it is possible. So that's another thing. Just have an open mindset. Yes, you might get told no at, a bank or a financial place, but then try another one. Try another one. Don't let that no stop you.
So let's talk about the roadblocks you went through and how you were able to overcome that as far as, the land ownership on the property.
To be honest with you, as a Black builder, period, there's roadblocks. As you start navigating, Black building and banking systems, you begin to realize this how the system is set up against us, that for us. Anytime I go and build something, you're going to have issue with neighbors. I've had an issue with neighbors in the city in a couple of projects. I had issues with neighbors, getting property rezoned to build subdivisions. So I think you're going to have obstacles, period, as a builder with neighbors. But, when you're on the other side of town, the neighbors are a little different. So in regards to building a property outside, 1 hour outside of Atlanta in the foothill of the mountains, you have those mountain neighbors, the ones who are 10 years, 20 years, 30 years behind, who don't really like to see, people like us come in and, develop and, run a business, start a business, make money. We had the right person in the city of the county who was younger and he was able to see the future. And he held a role inside the city where he believed in what we were doing. So he kind of gave us some pointers and tips how to maneuver and still keep it in a way where, we can accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. As far as dealing with the neighbors, we had to take the high route. We had to get lawyers involved. We had to get TPOs issued. We just had to stand our ground and let them know, like, we're not going anywhere. We bought this property, it's for our family, it's for us. We're going to stand our ground, we're going to defend it. And if we have to use the means that we have to stay defending, we will. And we had to do that. So after, showing the neighbors that you're not backing down and, utilizing the system, with lawyers and things, you want the court to just stand your ground, they pretty much lay down and stay quiet now and just let us do what we came to do, which was be great. And, build this successful treehouse business with the thoughts of passing our generational wealth to our son, our kids to come. So, and just bring our dreams to life. The obstacles look like neighbors, calling the police on Georgia Power, running off the electric company, stating claims that they own the road, blocking the roads, turning away dump trucks or harassing our workers that's coming to work and just giving them a hard time. Just the looks, sometimes you hear, outbursts of them, cussing at us or, just acting crazy. Well, we just held our composure and we just, did what we were supposed to do and just when they got lowered up, they started playing the lure game. And, usually when you do that, a lot of them, 99% sat down. One was still stubborn, but then, you just go the extra step until you, stand on your business and win your cases and just move forward. But as a visionary, also, I want to say a lot of people do not see a vision up front. And especially when you're dealing in a rural area like that, where they're just farmland. If it ain't cows and chickens, it don't make sense. I will say this, after they seen the vision, the city, and after they seen what we created, they actually was like, wow, Like we didn't see this in the beginning. We had no clue. You know what I mean? Now that we see it, are you willing to come back to our city council meetings and have conversations with us about developing our county? And so sometimes that's just what it is, man. People just so stuck in their old ways, and they don't want new or they don't want change. But then when you bring it to them and they see it, they respect it, and it inspires them to change.
That's great information, man. And you mentioned a great point about generational wealth. So, you guys made this vision a reality. So, how are you guys utilizing Honey Hills Retreat to establish generational wealth from your family from a financial perspective?
I say I work for my son. I'm a boss, but I work for my son. He's the boss.
Definitely.
So everything that I do is for empowerment for him and the generation he will bring into the world, and so on and so on. So, we build to make income, and then we just save the income to keep building and keep doing. Like I stated, right now I'm in Costa Rica, so we have used some of the money we made at the treehouse to acquire a restaurant on the beach down here in Costa Rica, which also is another business that would be added to the multitude of businesses we have to pass down to my son, and so on, so on, so on. So everything is to be kept, nothing is to be sold. I think I kind of got that mind frame from my grandfather, who worked hard his whole life and acquired, you know, two homes in Jamaica. It might seem small in American standard, but that's great in a Jamaican standard. And he was able to put in his will, these things can never be sold. They have to be passed down. You know what I mean? So seeing that structure made me realize, okay, I understand that, because now when I go back home to Jamaica, we have a nice house, Therese, 10 minutes from the beach that my grandfather worked hard to build, and it can't be sold. It has to be passed down. So whether somebody's living there or not, we always can turn it into a business like vacation rental or Airbnb. We could utilize the property and the equity to, do things and have more businesses and, buy more property and things like that. So I think that's kind of where my mentality is now. Sometimes in the game, like right now, I'm selling some of my single family properties because I'm realizing that vacation properties might be a better fit money wise. Instead of collecting rent once a month, I do like the multiple every 2 days collecting rent. So sometimes, you pawn down and pawn up, so, but the plan is always to keep, not sell, and just grow.
So, Janae, from your point of view, all right, so we have the treehouse. How do you utilize your interior design expertise? Because I mean, you're in a treehouse now. So how do you get the logistics, the geometry down, and then make it so luxurious? Like, because I feel like that's like a whole nother mindset right there. Like you have it built, but the inside of what it looks like and the attractiveness to say, you know what, I want to go there. Because when I think of a treehouse, I'm thinking of the treehouse back in the day you climbed up. So give us your point of view on that, because we're talking that luxury lifestyle. Let's go, Janae.
Right. So I will say this. The name of the road that the treehouse is on is actually called Honey Hills. And so I like to not only do I have an interior design business, but I also have an event design business. And so I'm always dealing with a theme. That is what brought everything together. And so sometimes I refer to myself as like the theme queen, but I had a theme. The theme was Honey Hills. We are in the foothills of the mountains. We're not in the mountains, so we don't come across bears up there. And I don't want you to feel like, 'cause you have people, it's their first question a lot of times when I talk to them. It's like, are there bears? No, they're not bears. There are no bears. You won't even see a bear inside of the house. And so with the honeycomb, well, Honey Hills theme, I chose to incorporate honeycombs. So in every part of the house, you will see hints and it will remind you where you are. As far as like focal walls, even the floor in the shower, even the little things that I leave out, like the honey sticks for the tea, for our coffee and tea station. It's always just an accent. Our plates, and cups, like all of our cutlery and stuff, incorporates honey hills, incorporates honeycombs. And so it is a luxurious touch, and it just doesn't give you the feeling like, oh my gosh, a bear is right outside, waiting on me.
Definitely. And what type of amenities do we have here?
So we have a sauna. We have a hot tub. There is an outdoor shower. The shower inside the home has two shower heads. So you can pick to choose a different temperature because, you know, us women, we like hotter water than our counterparts. I thought that was very important. I also love a freestanding bathtub. And so the bathtub is situated in the corner of the bathroom where while you're soaking, all you have is panoramic views of nature. And so, you know, just taking a bath is already peaceful. When you say, oh, I just want to take a bath, but to take a bath and take in views at the same time is just mind blowing, just mind blowing. So,
We also have a river lounge too down there at the river. We have a river flowing through the property.
yes.
We built like a little lounge area with two seats and a table. You can sit down there at the river and go in the river, cool off, or just hang out at the river.
And just to hear it is peaceful.
And tranquility. I'm a Pisces, so when you asked the question earlier how we bought the property, I was in LA and she sent me the picture of the river and I was like, buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I always feel like a water feature on a property just brings that tranquil, that sound, that relaxation vibe to it.
Yeah. And another point to add to that is we were initially looking for somewhere to build a forever home.
Yes.
I went to this property, walked this property, and I was like, it's a little rough around the edges, but it's beautiful. It was so peaceful. And I was like, we should build something that, you know, that everyone can enjoy. And so that is kind of what pivoted our plan. And so we chose to, you know, and that's how we expound on the treehouse, and then it grew and grew into what you have now, which is the mirrored glass treehouse.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm in the shower or if I'm in the room chilling, what am I looking at? If I'm looking, left to right, what am I looking at? Like, you're saying nature, but like what am I actually seeing with all the mirrors?
Trees.
Trees.
So I would say this in the bathroom, if you look down to the right, you can actually see the river flowing. So
Right.
as you're taking a shower in the glass shower, looking at the glass, you're seeing the river rolling, you're looking down, you're seeing trees. When you first walk into the house, it's just trees.
Trees.
Because it sits up, because it comes off a hill. So when you walk in, you're like 20 feet in the air. So you're elevated in the trees. You just see tree coverage.
Yep.
It goes down into the valley where the river flows, and then across the valley is the mountains again. So you see the valley, you see the trees. And I want to point this out too at nighttime sometimes when the moon
The moon is one of my
comes out,
favorite things.
it sits right there on top of the ridge, and you can just lay in the bed and the moon just looks 3D while you're looking out the window.
Yeah.
So you can see out with the mirror, but you can't see in, which is a plus all the way around the house. But yeah, that's pretty much the view. It's just trees, nature's birds. We have about 8 birds that we identify that live right in front of the tree house, and they come out every morning, sit on the same tree, sing their songs, move around.
People write about that. We have a journal in the treehouse, and so our guests will write about the birds that they
Yeah,
see.
it's complete privacy, no neighbors, no noise. Yeah, so yeah, that's your view. It's you and the trees.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that because I can hear my wife right now. All the mirrors around. I'm scared to take a shower. I don't want nobody walking around. I'm in the shower
We
butt naked.
do.
You can't see in it.
We did incorporate privacy shades in the bedroom and in the bathroom.
Okay.
I will go to say that I was against this
Cheers.
because I'm like, it's a mirror glass treehouse. It reflects, you know, what's on the outside. No one can see in here. No one is around. But for that extra layer of security or that extra, you know, just to feel you're like, oh my gosh, somebody's watching me.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
automatic shades.
When you press one button, all the shades come down in the bedroom and in the bathroom, because some of the workers that actually helped us build it, they were like, man, I can imagine my wife in there taking a shower and people see it. So psychologically we get it. So we had to throw the little shades in there, like she said. So, it's good.
I'd like to highlight a really cool feature in the design that I had nothing to do with. Kirk decided to put a TV up on the ceiling. So when you walk in, the TV is actually flushed with the ceiling. You hit a button with the press of a button, the TV comes down. And so the thought behind that was to not to block your view while you're laying in the bed. We want you to take in nature. But if you do decide that you want to look at TV, the TV will just come down and you can watch TV, put it back up.
And I also wanted to say that she did a great job bringing outside in. Our countertops in our kitchen is from wood that we took down while putting the road at the property. Our barn doors is from wood that we took down off the property when we put the road in. Also, our dining room table, also our headboard. So, just mixing the nature with the modern, with the luxury, just went really, really well together and incorporating the whole theme.
Yes. And that is another reason that we deem it a tree house. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't understand why you call it a tree house. But when you step foot inside, you immediately understand why we went with treehouse instead of your traditional
You
tree.
can find the pictures on our website on www.honeyhills.com. And we also have an Instagram page.
Honey Hills Retreat on Instagram, and it's also Honey Hills Retreat on TikTok as
where
well.
you could see, better photos and just, visualize what we're speaking of.
So here's one I want to talk about. Like in this season of Black Men Sundays, what's unique about it is that we're talking about couples that are like, you know what? I have a career, you have a career, but I have certain gifts and you have certain gifts, but how do we put that together? And then I see with you guys got the secret sauce. You got the builder, you got the designer. So let's talk about married couples out here that want to get in business, that have fear. But how do you find and how do you cultivate, first off, working with your spouse, and then on the back end of that question, how do you decide who's good at what and how do you stay in your lane?
So working with your partner is a good thing. It does get stressful in the moment because everything is very personal. So learning how to, communicate, through the personalness of it and decision making and just, learning how to just make a decision that I might not agree with, but she's agreements. But it also leads into knowing each other's strengths, I would say. Design, I might give my input one, two, but I pretty much lean on her for design. Sometimes she steps into my construction world and wants to give her input, and I have to explain it to her, and okay, that makes sense, because sometimes design and construction doesn't always meet eye to eye. Just having the respect for each other to understand, like, you know what, let me listen, let me hear what you have to say. Although it goes against how I feel, just being able to listen and process it and communicate through it and make the bigger decisions. Because a lot of things that you see in the treehouse, I was against. So there's a lot of W's in there, what I mean, that I had to let her get because it made sense, even though it didn't make sense to me. And then what happened now is you just trust your partner because, a lot of people who come, they write in a journal and they compliment the things I fought her on. But I have to be mature enough to be like, let me just trust my partner and how she feels with this. And now the key things that I fought her about are what people are writing about. Oh, we love this, we love that. I'm like, wow, I didn't see it. You saw it. But you just have to, respect your partner and trust your partner with her strengths and vice versa.
100% agree. Communication.
Yeah.
Communication is like the biggest thing. Sometimes I think that it's hard to hear your partner from a business aspect because you deal with them so personally all the time. And so you really, when we're dealing with each other, sometimes we have to take the personal out of it. And it's like, okay, if I was your client, if you were my client, how would I be dealing with this? And so those feelings really have to just be put to the side. And you have to think through that, process that. And sometimes we got to come back to the drawing board because I'd be like, okay, you know what? It's a little bit too personal for me right now. Like I'm thinking I have too many of my personal feelings in this.
Right.
So we'll say, you know what, let's revisit this. Let me take a second, step back, and we can revisit this.
Right.
But communicate through it.
Communication is key in marriage first, but it also trickles over into business.
I think what y'all doing is awesome. I'm probably gonna come see y'all one of these days, because
Come on, man.
yeah, I didn't even know it was out there. But I'm gonna definitely try to make it in. I don't know, maybe in the next year or two or something. We gonna come and see y'all because that sounds like an awesome, venue y'all got set up. How long have y'all been in? Have you been in business?
Treehouse itself,
No, not the tree. I just you in the real estate business or in the construction business.
I'd say about 8, 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. So did you so like when you first started in the business, did you like did was it just from like money you saved up or how did you like first initially get into the business?
So my first business actually was a personal care home that I opened up. I had a grandma that was being old. She was diagnosed with dementia. So she had to go to different personal care homes. And we wasn't really liking the vibe and how they were treating my grandma. So, I came up with an idea, like, let's just open our own personal care home. Because the state was saying that, they can't be taken care of. She couldn't be taken care of by us. The family had to be like seeing the RNs, people that certified. So I had some money saved up at the time from working and, my first investment was a house that I was going to buy to flip and sell. But I ended up turning that first investment into the personal care home because at the time it was like a 6 bedroom,
Hmm.
3.5, maybe 4 bedroom house. And I switched gears into, turning into personal care home to get my grandma so she could take care of her loved ones. I sent my sister to school to be a CN and also a cousin that I moved down here from New York.
You are good.
Mhm.
Um, so that actually kind of jump started the fix and flipping business. Although that was my first property, I actually got to flip it into a personal care home. And I think the love grew from watching workers because I was just, those were back, that was back in the day when I tell this all the time to my friends, we were paying like, I don't know if you remember, we were paying like $300 to get our TVs mounted on the wall. And, I watched a
Remember that.
worker, I watched a worker put up a TV and screw four holes, screws, and I'm like, I was paying $300. Is this easy? So, I say this a lot too. Usually when I hire trades in my young years in construction, when I hire people, I hire them to do a job, but I also hire them to teach me. I get two things when I hire people, especially like trades. Like if I hire a plumber, I'm gonna watch him, see how he do it, what he's doing, because I want to understand it. If I hire an electrician, I'm gonna watch him. If I hire a framer, I'm gonna watch him. And, when you begin to realize sometimes is you think things are hard because you just don't know. But once you see and you learn, you're like, this is not hard at all. I can't believe I was paying $300 to mount a TV when he just did vroom, 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 and it was on the wall. So that kind of jump started the whole, fix and flip model because I didn't do it. I didn't end up doing it with that first house because, like I said, I turned it into a personal care home, but I got to watch that and it just intrigued me. And it just, made me want to just learn and participate. So the money, but yeah, so you save the money, and then that business was ran basically the government pays half of the bad rent and family pays the other half. So usually I like to run the businesses for 2 to 3 to 4 years, let it accumulate, cover the overhead and save and just keep going and keep going. Now I wanted to go back on the conversation I was having with Corey because it just came to my mind about the 1031 exchange. This is the system that I use to keep reinvesting the money, so I don't have to pay capital gains tax. As long as you reinvest it within 90 days with a 1031 exchange, you can keep doing that and build a wealth instead of paying taxes with your wealth or these other things with your wealth. You could use it to keep building your foundation and your generation was for your family.
Is there anything else that you're like investing in, or is it, or are you mainly just real estate?
Real estate is one word with 10 different angles.
Yeah.
I like real estate because the overhead is lower. Coming from businesses where you have to payroll every 2 weeks and this and this, that, I kind of transitioned over the last couple of years into real estate because I feel like you can spend the money and the money helps you make money with less overhead. I'm real keen on the lower the overhead, the better your profits. So I try to maneuver in businesses where your overhead is really, really low and which maximizes your profits. And I just feel like real estate is one of them. Once you put that money to work in real estate, it does grow and it does work for you. with a minimum overhead. Right now, I'm in Costa Rica building a house, and I'm sitting in a restaurant right now.
Mhm.
I would say this restaurant is a business. It's kind of sort of real estate, but not. I mean, I'm kind of building on the beach, but it's selling food.
Mhm.
This is my first rodeo in a restaurant, but it's just another vision, another dream, another investment. So I would say primarily real estate, yes, but we do other things here and there and try it out, and see how it goes. And if it goes, it goes. If not, move on. But foundation is definitely real estate for sure.
And I was gonna say, do you have are you investing in any stocks or anything like that right now, or
Mm,
you're in the
I'm
market?
I'm kind of I'm kind of old school. If I gotta touch it, I gotta see it. I gotta, you know, a lot of my cousins and friends, they're into stocks and Bitcoin and trades. I'm just so Jamaican and old school. You know what I mean? I gotta see it. I gotta touch it. I gotta know it's real. Like I gotta, if I can't do it, then it doesn't really interest me.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm trying to get out of those ways because, I know the world grows and shifts and you also have to grow and shift. But I think real estate is just always gonna be here to grow and shift. Everybody needs a house. Everybody has to have a roof over their head, whether it's a restaurant, a house, apartment, a condo, or everybody needs a home. So I don't think, as far advanced as the world might go, everybody has to have a place to stay. So I think real estate is just, a great place to be.
Y'all enjoying yourself on Black Men Sundays?
For sure. I think that we love to pass our knowledge on. It's something that is not really done in our culture. People are like, oh, I had to do this and I had to go through this, and they like to tell you to try to go figure it out. But if you have a question and we know the answer, we're gonna help you, we're gonna answer it. And if we don't know the answer, like he said, like I'm gonna do some research and I can help you find the answers best I can.
Nice, great. Okay, so now, we talked about Honey Hills. I want to come visit. How much is it gonna cost me?
First things first, in order to stay at Honey Hills, you have to go to our website, which is www.honeys.com. We're not on Airbnb or VRBO. For us, it didn't make sense to make that kind of investment with a land purchase and building the structure from the ground up and then passing it off to
Party.
a third party, which would be Airbnb and VRBO. For them to dictate and, tell you what you can and cannot do and take a percentage of the money that you built for your family to earn. So we went the extra step in building our own website and we decided to spend, the extra money on marketing and bringing it to us instead of us joining the platform that's not really for us. A lot of property owners in the area at the time we were researching and they were like, no, you can't do this. No, you can't get this kind of money. And like she was saying earlier, just never accept no. A lot of property managers in the area told us we couldn't do it. She decided to take it on and be like, babe, I believe we can do it. We know we can, and we're doing it, which is another testament as to, you stay solid in what you believe. Don't matter who doesn't see it or don't believe it, just continue with how you feel about what you're doing. So right now we exercise a flat rate, which is
25 a night.
625 a
625 a
night.
night.
We don't go, and that's Sunday through Sunday. We don't go up or down. We don't, spike the prices, holiday spike. We just wanted to be fair enough and give everybody opportunity, to come and enjoy, stay with us without having to worry about this day or the weekend is higher. This weekend is higher. It's 625 Sunday through Sunday year round.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, because that's everybody go, okay, that sounds good. Then I'm gonna have the pictures up. How much? So, and then what
And
about
it's only due all of it upfront if you book within.
So in the vacation rental market, last minute is within the next 2 weeks. So on our website, if you're trying to come and you waited to the last minute, if the last minute is available and you're trying to book, it's going to be the full cost. So the full cost is 1672 and 50 cents. That's going to include our cleaning fee, Georgia tourism fees, local and state taxes with our nightly rate. If you are planning in advance, and you're say like 30, 40 days out from your stay, it will split your price up. So depending on how far you're out, it'll either split into 2 payments or 3 payments. So say you're like, oh, you know what? I'm planning for what is it, August right now? You can say I'm planning for December. You can pay it in 3 installments versus just paying all of that upfront.
Oh, that's good to know because I know, I'm in Orlando, Florida. So a lot of people, when they come to visit, they be at the
We got a
parks
lot of
three,
people
four
from Florida.
weeks.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so many
We got a
people
lot of
that
people
come
from
visit from
Florida.
Florida. We've had a lot of guests from Florida.
And not 80% of our guests are from out of town.
Yes.
They literally fly in, rent a car, and book a stay, which we appreciate so much because, this was built in the beginning for a getaway for people in Atlanta, and she was like, babe, no, like people gonna come fall over. I was like,
It's bigger
oh
than that.
no. She was right again. We had some dude come from Kuwait. A lot of people come from Florida, Mississippi. We have people
Tennessee.
Tennessee, New York, all over. And we enjoy every bit of the experiences that they come down here and share with us. Because sometimes if they check out too late, they get to meet us. They ask about story. We get to meet them real hands on with our guests. If we're celebrating a birthday or anniversary, we have proposals there already. If it's your birthday and she knows about it, when you walk in, it's gonna say happy birthday and your name on the board laid out for you when you come, balloons and little extras and stuff like that. So we're real like hands on with dealing with our guests and giving them that personalized luxury experience that's expected at the price point that we asked for.
Okay, and I'm gonna throw a little side question in. So I'm thinking about my wife. Okay, we out in these woods. What we eating?
Right. So, there's a full kitchen. So if you decide to stop along the way at a grocery store, there's a full kitchen inside. There's a Blackstone griddle on the back deck, and our fire pit also doubles as a grill. So you can cook with the pecan wood and just have that very flavorful touch. If you decide, hey, I'm not cooking, there is a restaurant that we love. It's about 15 minutes away from the house. And we send a lot of our guests there. They've written about it in our journal.
It's a real spot.
Absolutely love it. Food, top tier. Service, top tier. Drinks, top tier. So
We also have personal chef services for the ones who don't want to go the extra mile and just want to relax and don't
yeah.
work.
So you can also
Yeah.
hire a chef.
Yeah, we have a couple chefs that we work with, that get you in there depending on the kind of food that you want. Also, we're actually 20 minutes from Helen, Georgia. And a lot of people that know what Helen, Georgia is, there's a lot of people who don't. It's basically like cabin country in Georgia. So we're not far from a pre-existing, a lot of restaurants where they service a lot of like short-term vacation rentals. They're just different. They're just like log homes or homes and abouts and stuff. So, we're still in the vicinity of a lot of restaurants, places go hiking, food, wine, and it's all kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a lot off around there, a lot of good eats around there.
And I also provide that after you make a booking, and it's probably like a few days before your check-in, I provide you with an extensive email. This will have all of your details that you need to get to the house, and have how to locate video, your door codes. But then I also tell you about all of our favorite wineries, restaurants, waterfalls, hikes, and things to do in the area.
Nice. Yeah. See, I know me. I've been in came out. I be done brought some steaks from West Palm with me because my wife,
Well, that's what we
my wife's
want, though.
Bahamian, so I be done brought some
That's what I
steaks.
Yeah.
want. A lot of people check in and we don't see them again until they check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be on that grill. I'll be on that Blackstone, just tearing that thing down, man. So I appreciate that, man. Give me that website again if I'm ready to book. How can I contact?
www.honeyhills.com.
Nice. Okay, and I'm gonna ask y'all two more questions before we get out of here. So, I want to get back because our show is generational wealth, finance, and business. So for the couples out here, because I mean, if you ain't inspired by this conversation, then I don't know what it is. But for couples out here that are saying, I want to be like them, how much liquid from a minimal perspective, give us some tips now. Like if I said, okay, I'm trying to get in the game, period, with my spouse, we have liquid, we're just not doing anything with it, it's just sitting. So how can we take that liquid and make it to where we're creating wealth from a real estate point of view?
The liquid is perspective to how big, how small you're trying to develop. But I would say a minimum of like maybe 100K um, on a medium project where you can just go buy not 13 to 15 acres, but maybe an acre. And then, you go to and get a construction loan because a lot of people don't know at the end of a construction loan, you could turn it into a long-term loan also. So In the end, they could turn it into a mortgage. And, me, I would do that on a vacation rental or a place that I'm renting, making the income. I don't like to spend money and sit on it. So, if I have a house, I'm trying to rent it out. If I have a house, I'm trying to Airbnb it out, do a vacation rental. So yeah, I would say it depends. Minimum, I would say about 75K to 100K on a project, vacation rental project of this size, I would say. Because the banks, they give, I think, 80 to 20. You just have to have your 20%. The bank can give you 80% on the construction. But the numbers have to make sense. So you have to do research in the area, your comps in the area, get your number. If the number is 400, have 20% of that, 300, 20% of that, and the bank funds you. I would say go to credit unions, these big banks like Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, but no, find your local credit union, find your local neighborhood hero.
Yeah.
Open an account with them, put some money in, and build a business relationship with them. Go meet the manager of the branch. Introduce yourself. Become friends. And each bank have their own recipe. Everybody offer something different. So just educate yourself on what bank offer what, and figure out how to get in. And if you don't have it right now, at least you know what to have, or what to say to, or what the goal can be. Put a budget together. You can reach out to any good local contractors. If you have a dream, put a budget together. You know what I mean? Have a realistic budget of what a build will cost, and you take that to the bank and just do your numbers.
You mentioned vacation properties, and then I was, doing some research here, and I see you guys are setting up a Costa Rica retreat. So let's talk about, because, I'm hearing a lot of brothers expanding overseas now. You're not the first guest that's doing that. So let's talk about why you're doing that. Is it cheaper to go that route? Like, and how are you able to go that route?
Savings, once again.
I was interested in that.
Savings for the win, being disciplined and just being very, persistent with the dream and the vision and making all the sacrifices necessary.
That's a big part.
A big
Big
part,
part is sacrifice.
big part.
You have to once realize that you're going to do business in a different country. There's a language barrier. They also don't do business how we're used to.
Yes.
And so it's gonna get tough and it's gonna get hard, but you gotta just see it through, like once you decide like this is where I'm gonna plant my seed and plant my feet, you have to see it through. And it's gonna get difficult. I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's not gonna be difficult. You're gonna face some difficulties, some obstacles, but you just gotta see it through.
And so you do gotta be relentless with your pursuit of your vision.
Yeah.
For us, it's kind of wrapped in family first. As my parents prepare for retirement, we wanted to find a place. Well, we came on vacation to Costa Rica a couple years and fell in love with it. And the reasons were taxes that we realized, America just takes from us that these other countries don't. Second, the food, the health. We wanted to get away from the American modernization of food and how they're growing food and lab food and everything is poison now. And, we wanted to just eat better food for longevity health. Investing out in the country can be cheaper, yes. But like I said, it's all perspective of how big your vision and your dream is. Labor down here is way cheaper. If I could take these laborers to America, it'd be in there tomorrow. But, as far as labor, it's cheaper here. But you're in another country, they don't do stick builds, they don't use wood, they use cement, steel, and everything is reinforced. So you have blocks. So material can cost up there, but it balances out with labor costs. I do recommend that this day and age, anybody who has an interest of investing outside of the United States to do that. And also go the extra mile in, doing your research and not being scared to go outside of America because, this world is bigger than just America. And there's a lot of benefits outside of America, investment wise that, we can take account for. And I would say getting away from the system, the rat race. being out here is cheaper. Right now, I got a 2 bedroom in town that I'm renting while the house is being built for $400 a month. When I first came down here, I had a place I was renting also $400 a month, 2 minutes from the beach. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's different out in the country though. But anywhere you go, you just gotta do your research and just make sure that they're educated in what you're doing before you do it for sure.
Yeah,
But I,
research is important.
but I do recommend investing outside of America for sure as a safety net. Also, if America goes left, you have somewhere to go. You have another foundation, you have another place. You know, and I would do that in multiple countries if you can, not just one or two or three. We start in Costa Rica, but go to another country. I heard there's a lot of good things going on in Africa right now. So I would say definitely diversify your portfolio and not have all your eggs in one basket, like my mom would tell me.
Yeah, dual residency.
Dual residency
Thank you.
was important for us. So having dual citizenship in another country, also dual passports, was a major thing for us to have, just in case. You got a place that accepts you and that you can be in, and be okay.
I'd like to add on to what he said about research and stuff. In doing your research, know what it costs to invest in that country for you to get your residency or citizenship, whichever one that you're going for.
Yeah.
Also understand that we have a system set in America that's not set up in other countries, as far as how we have lines of credit and loans. That doesn't exist in some other countries. So just know that you'll have to have that cash on hand.
Yeah, you just utilize your American assets
Right.
and move the money out of the country. And particularly speaking of Costa Rica, if you're doing business, not even business, if you're just trying to move here, you're gonna have to have a lawyer.
Yeah.
Everything, this is word that they use, everything has to be inscribed. It's very 10 years back here, but we love that. We love that. We love that it's slower and it's not all technical and stuff, but price to pay with that is everything is kind of informal a little bit, and you gotta have a lawyer do everything for you. You just sent the car over here, had to get the lawyer. Started business, had to get the lawyer. Do your residencies and paperwork, gotta have a lawyer.
You gotta have a lawyer and you gotta have patience.
Patience, yeah, for sure.
I appreciate Kirk, Janae Harvey, the owners of Honey Hills Retreat, Black owned luxury getaway, North Georgia. We're gonna have to check that out. I appreciate you guys coming on the show. I appreciate your time and many blessings.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate this time as well.
It's a black man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away.